Are you ready to go under the knife? You'll learn vocabulary connected to cosmetic surgery in this episode of
Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig.
Hi, I'm Reza.
And my name's Craig.
And with no experience whatsoever of plastic surgery, we're going to operate on you. No, we're not. With 50 years of teaching between us, we'll help you improve your English and take it to the next level. How are you doing, Craig?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's really good to be podcasting again with you this week. And if you're a new listener to this podcast, as Reza said, the aim is to improve your English. And if you've come back to listen again, thank you very much. Now, I'm really keen to get started with some vocabulary connected to cosmetic surgery, Reza, especially because a lot of the words on our list this week I haven't heard of. So I'll be interested to learn some more new words with you.
A couple are new for me as well. And a few of them I had heard of, but wasn't quite sure what they meant. So I had to check it out on internet. Good old internet.
Me too. So before we start with our list, just for anyone who happened to listen to episode 429 on table manners, in which we did the Tim Tam challenge. If you don't know what that is, you have to go to inglespodcast.com/429 and watch the video. We tried to do the same challenge today, but with a very British biscuit called a penguin. The penguin challenge. What happened, Reza?
I have to be honest, we were not successful.
No.
It wasn't the same as a Tim Tam. Well, first of all, a penguin biscuit, not the animal. A penguin is long.
Let's be clear. No penguins were injured in this.
We did not try to suck chocolate and coffee through a penguin.
No, we did not try to suck a penguin. We did not try to do that.
So there's for us, a very famous chocolate biscuit, but it's probably not famous for you if you haven't been to the UK or Ireland. But in the British Isles, there's a biscuit called a penguin. Why? I've no idea, because it doesn't in the least make you think of a penguin. They just simply put a picture of a penguin on the wrapper. So there's a biscuit called a penguin, which we thought would be quite similar to a Tim Tam, didn't we?
Yeah, although maybe not as sweet, because Tim Tams are very nice, but they do tend to be quite sweet. There's lots of sugar. So we tried the Tim Tam challenge with a penguin, and we're here to tell you that it didn't quite work for us. But if it does work for you, or if you try with a similar biscuit, please let us know if you have been successful. So this week we're talking about cosmetic surgery, and what's the difference, or is there a difference between cosmetic or plastic surgery?
Do you know what? If you're an expert, there probably is. But if you're not an expert, I would say no, not really.
Yeah.
What about for you personally?
I would not know of a difference myself. I would use those terms interchangeably. I don't think it really matters. If you work in this area, you could be a plastic surgeon, you could be a cosmetic surgeon, and if you are, and there is a big difference, please let us know.
At the beginning, when I was introducing this episode, I asked you if you were ready to go under the knife. So to go under the knife means to be operated on. So a surgeon, it could be a plastic or a cosmetic surgeon or any type of surgeon, operates on you. If you're going to be operated on by the surgeon, you are going under the knife.
Now, when I wake up in the morning and I go into the bathroom and look into the mirror, what do I see? Well, obviously, I see a very tired, sleepy face, but I also see, unfortunately, some wrinkles on my face. WRINKLES. What are wrinkles? That's when the skin shows signs of aging and it's not smooth anymore. And if you have wrinkles on the sides of your eyes, they're called crow's feet. Crow is a bird, C-R-O-W, and if you imagine the shape of birds' feet, those are the lines that appear when you age at the side of your eyes. Reza, do I have crow's feet?
I wouldn't say so.
What about when I smile?
Maybe a little bit when you smile very broadly, but generally I would say no.
So
What about
maybe
me?
a baby crow. I can't see because you're wearing glasses. I think the same. I think I can see faint lines next to your eyes. If lines are faint, they're not very clear. They don't stand out. But you have some. I think in a few years you might have more.
Well, who knows then? In a few years, I may have to get a facelift. Now, that doesn't mean simply to look upwards towards the sky, lift your face. No. A facelift is whenever you're going to have plastic, cosmetic surgery, because the skin on your face is, we say, beginning to go south. When things go south, it means they're, because of the force of gravity, they're getting closer to the ground. So we all know that things like to go towards the ground.
So we can say to sag, S-A-G, when your skin sags, it goes down, as Reza said, south to the ground.
It never goes up, does it? It always goes down. So we say to go south. When things start to go south on your face, the skin, in other words, becomes saggy, it's sagging, then you might consider a facelift. So to lift is to bring something up. So to stop it looking like it's going down. Or you might get a nip and tuck. So nip means they like make a little cut, or a surgeon might say a little incision, which is really just a medical way of saying a little cut, but a planned cut, not an accidental cut. So they'll make a little nip, then they will pull back the skin on your face and pull it up, and then they will tuck it in. So to tuck is like what you do with your shirt. So gentlemen and perhaps ladies might wish to have the bottom of their shirt under their trousers so that you don't see the bottom of their shirt. So you have to tuck it into or under your trousers. So nip and tuck, they cut the skin and then they bring it back, and you can't see the end of the skin that they've nipped. Maybe they put it behind your ear or somewhere like that where you can't see it, and then they give you stitches, puntos. So like what you do with clothes, you stitch it when a button falls off and you want to put it back on again, you have to stitch it. So they'll give you the stitches behind there where you can't see it, then tuck it away out of view. Nip and tuck.
They kind of stretch the skin, don't they, back over the bones in your face. They pull up the skin, and that's very common in Hollywood with actresses, so that they look younger and they can get these younger parts in films and TV series. They have facelifts, and sometimes it makes the person look as though they can't open their mouth properly, they can't talk properly because the skin is very tight over the face.
But let's not be sexist, Craig. Let's not be sexist, particularly if we're talking about Hollywood. When we recorded our previous podcast, you mentioned Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
Are there many people who've had more operations than him on his face? Have you seen him recently?
That's true. Yes, that's true. Although I think with men, it's easier for them to get work in film and TV when they age. And it's more difficult for women, except exceptional actresses like maybe Meryl Streep or similar actresses. They can continue working as they get older roles. But very attractive, very good-looking women who maybe aren't the best actresses, they find it difficult to get the parts if they don't have cosmetic surgery. Yeah. A lot more than men, although you're right, men also have it too. Would you consider having a facelift if your wrinkles became too many?
I would. If I thought that it was drawing people's attention too much, I would consider it. But I wouldn't consider it, this is just me personally, and I'm not criticizing anybody who thinks differently, I wouldn't consider it just to make myself look better. I would only consider it if I thought that my looks were so shockingly bad that they were drawing people's attention. So, For me, it would be to stop drawing people's attention, not to draw people's attention.
I understand.
Do you follow me?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
What about you?
Yeah, the same. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get on a bus and have people staring at you because you were incredibly wrinkled and you looked really horrible. Yeah.
But it can all go wrong because exactly like Craig, funny how great minds think alike. He was telling me that yesterday he watched a film with Sylvester Stallone. Me too, by chance. Bloody terrible film.
What was it called?
Was it called, not Nemesis, the other one?
Yeah. We saw the same one.
Same film on the same day?
Savior.
Yes, something like that.
I saw Savior yesterday.
The same day we watched the same film?
It was absolutely terrible, and I watched all of it, and that's 1 hour and a half that I will not get back in my life.
There was Nemesis and the brother. What was the brother called?
Savior.
So we watched the same film on the same day.
Yeah, we did.
But not together.
Did you watch all of it?
Yes, but I severely regretted it. By the way, it wasn't my idea to watch it. I was persuaded to watch it by somebody else.
I like Sylvester Stallone, and I think he's very good, but that film was absolutely... Why did he make it? He doesn't need the money. Anyway, I think we're going off topic.
But you did notice his face in that.
Yes.
He only had one gesture because he can't do any more now.
Yeah. But he's still good for his age. He keeps fit. Anyway, back to the topic, and from the face to the other part of the body, the lower half of the body, your legs. Now, there are vessels inside your body that carry blood. Two types, actually. There are arteries and veins. The veins, V-E-I-N-S, in your legs, they can become very prominent, very noticeable when you get older. So there is laser treatment that can help remove your leg veins. I'm not sure if it actually removes them. Is that what it does?
I'm not sure exactly how it works.
It improves
It certainly gives
them,
the appearance that they've disappeared. Whether they really have, I don't know.
Varicose veins, that's the problem that gets solved by laser treatment sometimes.
Craig, are you vain?
Am I vain? Well, why don't you tell me? You know me better than anybody. Am I vain?
Are you what?
Am I vain?
A vain.
Am I vain?
No. You're definitely not vain, no.
Not a vein. Am I vain?
Exactly, yeah.
The adjective, not the noun.
Yeah, we better clarify this, hadn't we? So, in plastic surgery, you might get your leg veins treated, V-E-I-N. And some people want a lot of plastic surgery because they're vain, V-A-I-N. Same pronunciation, different meaning. V-A-I-N, vain is related to vanity. You like yourself a lot. If you're V-A-I-N. Craig is not vain, let me tell you.
The next word is a word I've never seen before. It's dermabrasion. What does that mean?
Well, derma generally is a prefix related to the skin.
Skin, yeah.
Right? And abrasion, if something is abrasive, yeah, it involves abrasion. You, with energy, rub something off the surface. And that's what it is. With dermabrasion, they rub off impurities, imperfections off the skin.
Okay, I see. Because we have, I think, 7 or maybe is it 9 layers of skin? So we could, in theory, take off 1 layer or 2 layers and it kind of cleans it, I suppose. Now, you can remove pieces of skin and put it on a different part of your body. Let's say, for example, you have very bad burn scars on your arm, on your face. Maybe you were in a fire or something happened with acid and your skin has been changed and it really doesn't look very nice. You can take skin from a different part of your body, say the tops of your legs or your bum, and you can put it where the ugly part of the skin is. And that's called a skin graft. G-R-A-F-T.
You said bum. What's a bum?
The back part of your body that you sit on.
Any other words for that?
Your behind, your bottom, your arse, or if you're an American speaker, an American English speaker, your ass.
Ass. But an American definitely wouldn't say bum, because that's different in American English, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You could also, for a more formal word, say posterior.
So that was a skin graft. Another area of concern for a lot of people is the nose. Rhinoplasty is the correct technical term for having work done on your nose, but many people say a nose job. To get something done in your nose, plastic surgery done in your nose, a nose job.
And next we have two expressions that I've never seen: cellulite treatment and chemical peeling. Can you explain those a little?
Well, cellulite, I think, basically is that fatty tissue which you can live without. Well, you can live without some of it, so it can be removed. They can take away some of that cellulite, and if they do that, then that's cellulite treatment. Typically, you'll find it around the bottom or the thighs, the upper part of your legs, perhaps a little bit around your belly. So the cellulite there can be taken away. Particularly around the bottom of the thighs, it seems to be more common for women than for men. Ladies, don't take this badly, but you have more fat than us. It's science. It's the fact. Women's bodies have a higher fat content than men's, which is what we find that makes you look so nice, by the way. It's not a bad thing. So men are basically, they have less fat than women, so we don't have so many problems with cellulite because we're watered down versions of women. We're watery. Chemical peeling is something I hadn't heard about at all till last year. But I was told by a beautician who's a good friend of mine, and if you're listening, Gemma, thanks very much for listening, as ever. She told me all about chemical peeling, and she said you need to know what it's about because it's very, very popular these days. It's a new fad, F-A-D, a new thing, but it's very popular. So chemical peeling is when they peel off a layer or two of your skin using chemicals. In the past, perhaps they would have used creams or treatments which were more basic, but now they've got more refined chemicals for doing that. So to peel is to take off a layer of skin, like you can peel a potato, you can peel a kiwi. So they can peel your skin with certain chemicals these days.
So what's the difference between chemical peeling and dermabrasion? Is it that chemical peeling uses chemicals and dermabrasion uses something you wash the dishes with?
Something similar to what you wash the dishes with. Yeah, it uses
sandpaper.
Something like sandpaper. Really?
Really?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
The same principle.
Okay.
So we better explain what is sandpaper. Sandpaper is that paper which is very abrasive, which you use to change the smoothness of the surface of wood.
Or plaster.
Or anything, I guess, really. So you use sandpaper. Traditionally, it was paper with sand in it.
Or glass paper sometimes.
Or glass paper, so that it makes it abrasive. So they use something like that, but obviously a bit smoother on your skin for dermabrasion, whereas chemical peeling doesn't use that. It uses chemicals.
The next expression I have heard of, quite common, silicone breast implants. You might feel that your breasts are too small or maybe too large and you want to change the size. If you change the size and make them smaller, that's breast reduction. You're reducing the size of the breast. And if you're making them bigger, then it's common to put some silicone inside the breast as an implant. It implants inside under the skin, and it's also called breast augmentation, or more informally, a boob job.
Remember we talked about a nose job? Well, for your breasts, a boob job. So boob is an informal word for breast. As you can imagine, listeners, we could give you a very, very, very long list of slang words for breast, but we're not going to.
No, but we should mention that you could, as a man, receive a penis enlargement or a penis reduction.
Find me a man who's ever asked for a penis reduction. I'd like to pick his brain to see what's happening there. Do you think any man has ever asked for a penis reduction?
Well, I did see a man once. Do you remember in pubs in the UK, they had those urinals where it wasn't just a separate individual place to urinate. It was like the horses drink out of a long trough. So it was a very long... Do you remember those in the UK pubs? Yeah. I saw a man once in the UK laying down in one of these troughs where you urinate. And I said, why are you lying down there? And he said, the doctor told me not to lift anything heavy.
Oh dear, oh dear.
I'll leave that in.
Leave it in.
Okay, moving on swiftly, quickly. What's the next one?
Who hasn't heard these days of Botox? If you want to get technical, you could say botulinum toxin. That's right, we said toxin, and toxin means something that's bad for you.
Toxic, yeah.
Yep, toxic is the adjective, toxin is the noun. So it's a toxin, it's toxic. If you were to drink it, which you wouldn't, of course, could well kill you. It's not good for you. It's a toxin. But who knows how? Somebody discovered that if you inject it into certain parts of the body, mainly the face or the lips, it can make you look good because it seems to make the wrinkles disappear.
And it's become very popular in recent years, hasn't it? Especially in the lips, I notice, and especially among females. Now, I've noticed that my lips with age have become thinner, and although it would be nice to kind of have slightly thicker lips like I did when I was younger, I don't think I would want to put Botox in my lips, would you?
I wouldn't want to put Botox in your lips either, no.
That's very kind of you.
Nor would I want to put them in my lips now. No, I'm not that fussed about my lips, to be honest. But I can understand why a lot of ladies are worried about their lips, because it's something that we closely identify with feminine beauty more, isn't it? Having full lips. We say full, like lots of meat behind them.
And yeah, there's something very sensual about the mouth as well, I think, and very attractive.
Now, earlier I was talking about body fat and how that typically women have more fat than men. There may be a few exceptions, but scientifically, that's the general rule. Well, some people, particularly women more than men, might go for plumping. Now, to plump something, P-L-U-M-P, is to fill it out. And the way you would do that would probably be with collagen injection. So collagen is a kind of fatty liquid. So you would get plumping in areas where it looks like you're a bit too thin, that you want to look rounder, you want to look fuller. Imagine, for example, you had a very, very small bottom and it looked like a young boy's bottom, but you're in fact a fully grown woman. You might consider plumping it. You might consider having an injection there so that it looks a bit bigger, which is more typical of the female body as compared to men.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that, but I did guess what it meant when I saw the word plump, because you can use plump to describe somebody who's maybe a little overweight. It's nicer than fat, isn't it? You say, well, yeah, he's a little plump, or the plump boy next door. It's kind of nicer than fat, but it means, yeah, rather large.
It can also be done to the face. Some women plump out. We've made it into a phrasal verb. They plump out their face if they think that their bones are too obvious, the cheekbones are too prominent. They might inject a little bit there with collagen and they'll plump out the face.
To make it rounder, yeah. Some of you may have seen a picture of Prince Charles in the UK. He is often ridiculed and made fun of because of his ears. His ears tend to stick out at the side, and that phrasal verb to stick out means to protrude, to come out from the side of the head. So there is a procedure in cosmetic surgery called ear pinning. To pin, if you use Google Maps, you know what a pin is. It puts something in a specific spot and will hold the ears closer to the head so that they don't stick out on the side of your head. So ear pinning is used for protruding ears.
Another very common procedure these days, well, in fact, it's been around for years. If something's been around, that means it's existed. It's not new. Is liposuction. So to suck is like what you do with a drink through a straw. You have to suck it up through the straw. So liposuction, they stick something which I guess looks a bit like a metal straw into you, and they suck out the fat that you don't want or you don't need. So it's typical for flabby, for flab, F-L-A-B is a noun, and F-L-A-B-B-Y, that's the adjective. Flabby is where you have excess fat or not enough muscle. If you've got flabby legs, arms, or even stomach, you might get liposuction. And if it's done to your stomach, quite often they call it a tummy tuck. So remember that word tuck? To tuck your shirt under your trousers. So they're like, tuck that bit of your stomach which sticks out. They get rid of it and then they tuck it in under the bottom there, where the bottom bit of your torso where people can't see it. You might get a tummy tuck.
Yeah, liposuction is popular for people who find it really difficult to lose weight, isn't it? It just sucks the fat out of the body. Now, as people age, another thing that happens is they may lose their hair or start losing their hair. And something that's obviously happens to women, but it's more common with men. And to solve this problem cosmetically, you might ask for a hair transplant or hair replacement, obviously replacing hair or transplanting hair. Now, do you think the hair's transplanted from a different part of your own body, or do they use other people's hair?
I'm not sure how they do it. I think it can be other people's hair, but maybe it's preferable to use your own hair. I don't know about that.
It wouldn't be pubic hair, would it? That would look silly.
That would look a bit silly
on your head.
It would
curly.
Be too curly, particularly if you had straight hair and you put the pubic hair there.
Yeah, it would be mixture. It would be a bit silly.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe from your arms or something. I don't know.
Well, that's curly as well, isn't it?
It's going to be a bit curly, isn't it? Yeah. I guess it's got to be somebody else's hair.
Yeah.
As well as the idea of having hair added, a transplant or replacement, you might want to have hair removed. Again, this is probably more common for the ladies. If you remove something, it means to take it away. So they might be hairy in an area where they don't want to be hairy. So they have the hair removed. There are many ways of doing that. It can be done with creams. It can be done with chemicals. It can be done with laser. There are waxing. There are many types of hair removal.
Yeah, it's very common sometimes to take the hair from the face. If you're a lady, you don't really want facial hair. So facial is the adjective. Facial hair on your face. You want to remove that. There's another word I did not know, which is brachioplasty. And that's an upper arm lift. So did you read any details about that? Because I have no idea what that involves.
That would be for men or women, again, tends to be more women than men, who have bingo wings. Do you know what they are?
I can guess. When you get to a certain age, you have flab. We had that word before. Flabby arms. Flabby is the adjective. When you lift up your arm, there's a curtain of skin that drops below your arm, especially if you don't have very firm muscles. It's just like it sags. It just drops below the arm.
And why do you think people ended up calling it bingo wings?
Because if you play bingo and you win, then you hold up your arm to say house or bingo, and you can see the flabby arms.
That's it. That's exactly it. So an upper arm lift is typically applied to get rid of bingo wings when you have flabby skin under your arms. The next one you might think is rare, but it's very common amongst Hollywood stars, male and female, by the way, is a Blepharoplasty, or better known as an eyelid lift. So obviously there's not much they can do with your actual eye, and you shouldn't muck about. To muck about means do silly things with an eye unless you have to. But the eyelid, the piece of skin which covers the eye, that can be treated in various ways. So if your eyelid seems to droop, D-R-O-O-P, it seems to fall down or be too low, it tends to give you the appearance of looking older or more tired.
Yeah, constantly tired.
Constantly tired. You might not be. It might just be the appearance because the eyelid is low. So they'll lift that and it makes you look more active, more concentrated, more focused. Although you aren't, but it just gives that appearance.
The next procedure on our list is a buttock lift. Now, that's not an elevator for your bum. That means that they would put some kind of Botox or maybe silicone into your buttock to just make it seem a bit higher, maybe a bit rounder. So you're basically changing the shape of your buttock, of your posterior, your arse, if you like, and just making it a more agreeable shape.
We've already spoken about a nose job and a boob job. You might even get a chin job. And the reason you'll get the chin job is probably because you have a double chin.
I've got a double chin.
Maybe a little bit, Craig, but not much. Only when you exaggerate a certain posture. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm just looking at Craig's chin now. It looks okay to me.
Looking at both of them, aren't you?
I think I've got more than you.
Yeah, we got a beard. It covers it up.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I've got it. So I could maybe do with a chin job. So a double chin, your chin is that bit of your face at the bottom, the barbilla in Spanish. So when you have a lot of skin or fat under that, it can look as if you've almost got two chins. That's why we call it a double chin.
Or three. You could have three.
Three, yeah. Some people look like they got 2, 3, 4 even. So if you get some of that extra tissue, 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 removed, then that is a chin job.
From your chin to your vagina, there is a procedure called Vaginal Rejuvenation, which I hadn't heard of. I can kind of guess what it is. Because I know that when women age, they might get dry in that area. So I'm guessing it's some procedure that makes, for example, for men, if men want to continue having sex, they maybe take Viagra. Is this something that women would do so that it would help them to have sex? No, it's not.
Nothing at all to do with that.
So I'm miles away from... Yeah. What is it?
Unfortunately, there's nothing women can do about that except perhaps take Viagra as well, because they've recently discovered that Viagra works for women too.
But there are creams, I think.
Yeah, but this has nothing to do with that. It's to do with having the area of the vagina just look younger. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's nothing to do with dryness. It's nothing to do with how much sex you have. It's not that. It's just making the area look younger, but they do that by making incisions, nipping and tucking. For the things that have gone south, lift them up a bit so everything goes south, including the vaginal area. By the way, did you notice Craig said vaginal and I'm saying vaginal? Both pronunciations are correct, by the way.
Interesting.
So the vaginal area gets lifted and just generally treated in such a way so that the woman's vaginal area looks younger.
I had no idea that was a thing, that you could do that. It's amazing what we can learn from this podcast. We should listen more often. Let me ask you a question, Reza. What do you think are the most popular countries for performing or having plastic surgery done per capita? So throw some countries out there. Tell me some countries in which you think plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery is really popular.
Well, before I checked on internet, because now I know, but what I thought was partly right. I thought Brazil would be there in the top 5.
I would say Brazil, yeah.
And I found out it was. I'm not going to tell you any more than that. But other countries that I thought would be in the top 5 or so would be Italy, I would think of the United States. I would think of Spain. They would be the countries that first come to mind.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say the UK. But why don't you tell us the list? What's the final list that we found?
Well, I only know this from checking it recently. The official statistics from a year or so ago, so it may have changed in the meantime, were number 1 top where most people per capita get plastic surgery in the world is Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
No surprises.
It already was quite famous for that. Number 2, slightly surprising, but not very surprising, Argentina.
Yeah.
I might have expected Spain to be 2 or 3, but no, Argentina gets in there. Number 3 did surprise me a bit, Colombia.
Yes, that surprised me quite a bit as well, Colombia, yeah. Although number 4 I can see here is Italy, so that's no surprise. I think we both assumed they would be in the top 5. Number 5 really surprised me.
Me too. The big surprise, in my opinion, is Germany at number 5. According to the statistics I've seen, German people are the 5th most likely in the world to have plastic surgery.
Per capita. And the English don't care how they look, obviously. So, Reza, based on the different procedures and the different cosmetic surgeries that are available these days, would you ever consider having any cosmetic surgery affecting any part of your body?
Well, as I said earlier, yes, I would, but only to draw attention away from me, not to draw attention to me. So if I felt something on my body looked so terrible that it was drawing too much unwelcome attention, I would consider plastic surgery. And I'd consider it on any part of my body that I thought it needed. But in my case, that's only going to be the parts that people see much, which is going to be my arms or face. The legs and feet wouldn't really bother me that much because not many people are going to see them much. That's the way I reckon I see it. What about you?
No, I agree. If maybe I had really bad burns on my face for some reason, and it might be very distracting for people to look at, which kind of connects to another question, because plastic surgery in most cases is not paid for by the National Health Service. And I think that's right if it's only for appearance. However, if somebody was especially disfigured, and if you're disfigured, that means, let's say that half of your nose is missing or the bones in your face are very bad and you draw attention to yourself when you're outside in public and you don't feel comfortable, then I think in that case it should be available and paid for by the government on the National Health Service. What do you think?
I totally agree with that.
But not for cosmetic reasons, not just to look younger. That doesn't seem a good way to spend public money.
Yeah. And Craig, what's a good age for plastic surgery?
I would say any age at which you can vote, because let's say you are 18 or 21 or whatever age it is in the country where you live, if you're old enough to make a decision on politics, then probably you're old enough to make a decision on something as life-changing or potentially life-changing as plastic surgery. So I think you should be an adult, and maybe the age to vote is a good way to go from.
Should there be a maximum age?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you've got the money and you can afford it and it's your money, then you spend it the way you want to, don't you?
What about, as happens in a few places, people under 18 getting plastic surgery because one of their parents has decided they should have it?
No, don't agree with that at all. I don't think that's responsible parenting.
It does happen, though.
Yep. It's also becoming very popular, and maybe this is a topic for another podcast, that many underage children, in some cases as young as 4 and 5, are being given hormones by their parents because they have the feeling that their children have not decided what sex they want to be yet. And that's another question perhaps for another day. But no, I don't think the parents should be deciding on plastic surgery for underage children.
If you could look like anybody physically, perhaps with a bit of plastic surgery to help you, who would you like to look like?
I'd like to look like myself, I think. I'd like to be a bit taller. I think I'm a bit short, but I don't think there are any operations to make me taller, are there?
For children, there are.
Can I be stretched?
Yes. Children can be stretched.
On a rack?
Yes, kind of, yeah.
Like in the Middle Ages?
Yeah, I'm not joking. I know a surgeon in Valencia who does the operation.
Do they put bones inside the leg? Extra bone? No.
No, they break the bone and stretch it out, then break it again, then stretch it out, then break it again, etc., and stretch it out.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
But it's often done purely for medical reasons.
Right.
There's nothing cosmetic about it at all when one leg's longer than the other.
Yeah.
They don't do that. You're always going to have one leg longer than the other.
Yeah.
So they keep breaking one leg, make the bone cure, and a little bit of extra bone gives extra length so that the legs end up the same length. So it can be done.
So they're doing it for medical reasons, not because the person wants to get served easier in the pub because they're taller.
Yeah, but there are people who do it for cosmetic reasons. It has been applied to that as well. Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, I don't think I would like to. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to look like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt, wouldn't it? But I don't think I'd want to spend my money that way.
Tom Cruise? I thought you wanted to be taller.
Well, you'd compromise, wouldn't you? You know, if you look like Tom Cruise, okay, you know, I'll lose an inch, I'll lose 2 centimeters and look like Tom Cruise. Wouldn't be so bad. What about you? Would you like to change your looks and look like somebody famous? What would you change?
Yeah, pretty much anybody I'd like to look like, but I can't be bothered to do plastic surgery to do it. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you? Would you like to change the way you look? Would you like to have any of the plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery procedures that we've mentioned in this episode? Or in fact, have you had one of the things that we've mentioned? We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback. Are you happy with the way things worked out if you've had cosmetic surgery? Or do you perhaps regret having it done? We'd love to hear any feedback from you about the topic in this episode. You can send us a voice message. You can go to speakpipe.com, speakpipe.com/Ingles podcast. And we do really enjoy hearing your voice messages, and you get to practice your speaking.
If you prefer to write, you could send either of us an email. You can find Craig if you write to craig@inglespodcast.com, or me, Reza @belfastreza@gmail.com.
If you're interested in studying with a paid course on the Mansion Ingles website, you can find some courses to download. Go to store.mansioningles.net.
As always, we'd like to thank those people who sponsor us through the Patreon scheme. That's Patreon. What they do is they donate money to us, as little as $1.20 a month. And as a thank you to those people who donate that money, we give them access to recent audio transcriptions so they can see every single word that Craig and I say. So we'd like to say thank you to every one of them, but we can't name them all because we haven't got time. So what we will do is to say thanks to the most recent sponsors who've joined us, who are
Eugenia Gil, Esteban, Daniel Valencia Gomez, and Maria Villa. Thank you very much to you and to everybody who's supporting us on Patreon. Now, we don't know what we're going to be talking about next week, but there will be an episode for you on Sunday as usual. Thank you so much for listening this week. Until next time, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
The music in this podcast is by Pitts. The track is called See You Later.